Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron. We're doing something a little bit different today. I'm gonna hop in old Pennywise here, and I got about a 2-hour drive. I got a buddy that got a motor that I need, and he's got a truck that he needs me to look at for him. So I'm gonna drive over there and look at the truck for him, see if I can get it going, pick up my motor, and we'll go from there. So I figured do a little something different, and I'll take you guys along for the ride, and that's what we'll do. So here we go. I'm on my way back now. My buddy that I went over to work on the truck at his house, he wasn't comfortable with me filming at his house, so I respected his wishes and didn't do it. But he had an 84 long bed square body that he bought yesterday, and it was running like crap, wasn't running right. He was having tons of problems with it, so I got it figured out. It was ignition issues. Got it all figured out, got the timing set, and got it running good. I got my motor that I went to pick up back there, and we're headed home. I just stopped in at O'Reilly's to see about getting some more paint for the hood of this, if they might have it, and then I'm gonna head back on to the shop. All right, I made it back to the shop. Gonna set up the cherry picker and back the truck in the door and get this motor unloaded. Then I'll put it on an engine stand, and we'll check some bearings and stuff, see what kind of condition it's in, and make a decision what we're gonna do with it. That last little part of the video, I probably shouldn't have even been here or filming. I think I got overheated getting the motor and working on that truck and stuff, and I got a real bad migraine, and wasn't feeling very good at all. But it's a new day. We got through all that, and we're about to get back on this motor. We're gonna kind of tear some stuff off of it and check a couple bearings, stuff like that, to see if I need to do a full rebuild on it or if I can make it run for a little while. But the first thing I want to do is check my casting numbers, and then I'll pull the valve covers off and check the head numbers just to see what I got here. And I already know 3970010, that's a 350, 73 to 80, I think, somewhere in there. But it's a 350. It could be 4-bolt main or 2-bolt main. I'm gonna guess it's a 2-bolt, which is fine. That's all I need. Just want a little motor I can toss it in a truck and drive around. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the valve covers off, see if we can find the head casting numbers and look those up and see what size heads they are. And then we'll keep on going from there. Alright, got the valve cover off. I don't know how good you guys can see it, but the casting number's right down there. So I'm going to go and grab my phone and we'll look that casting number up and see what we got. Looks like somebody's been in here before because it's got all polylock adjusters. Looks like everything, it looks like stock rockers, but it looks like everything else has been replaced. So I'm going to look that number up and we'll see what we got. Okay, so I found a casting number locator here on my phone, and my head number I have is a 3917291. So I looked it up on here and it says it's for a 302, 327, 350, 62 to 69, and it either has 194 150 valves or 202 160 valves, which either way they're big valve heads. So I'm happy about that. So we got big valve heads with a 350 block. We'll find out if it's a 2-bolt or a 4-bolt here in a little bit when we pull the oil pan off. Like I said, either way I'm not too worried about it, but makes me happy that it's got big valve heads on it. So we're going to continue with taking stuff apart and see what kind of shape it's in. Okay, so I didn't notice it before, but this is a camel hump head, high flow. I noticed it after I looked up the number and told you guys, so that's pretty cool. So I went and pulled the other valve cover off and it had a different number on it. So I checked the number on that and it's the same. It's closed chamber, 69, 202 160 valve. Exact same head, good head, but it's a little bit, this head is like a 62 to 69 or whatever I said, and that one's a 69 to 79. The difference is that head has the provisions on the ends, the 3 holes, where you can mount an alternator, stuff like that. Where this head doesn't have any of that, it's just smooth. There's nothing on there. So it's got 2 of the same heads on it, but they put a newer model head on that one so they could put an alternator on it, which I'm fine with because I need to run an alternator too. So the heads are the same, they're big valve, good production heads. They're good cast head or stock heads is what I'm trying to say. They're obviously not as good as an aluminum head you'd buy or whatever, but for what I'm using it for, they're actually a little bit too much. Like, I'm not trying to build a performance motor. I just want something reliable for a daily driver. So I'm going to use them because I have them, but I don't necessarily need them. Now, with that being said, it's got dual springs with aftermarket polylock adjusters and all that. So being that it has dual springs and I know somebody's been in here, I'd be willing to bet that it has a cam in it, which once again I don't need it, but I'm fine with it. We're going to continue tearing it down, and I'm going to take I'm eventually going to get to the timing cover, take it off and look. I'll probably put a new timing chain in it unless the one that's in it looks new. But I'm going to check bearings and stuff first to make sure that I don't have to do anything with that before I start deciding to do that kind of stuff. So usually the identification is on the back end of the cam. If everything looks good, I'm not going to pull the cam out just to see what it is. Obviously, the motor's been built with all this stuff on it to work with something, so I'm sure it works with the cam that's in there. So if I don't have to pull the cam, I'm not going to. I can look down through some holes in the valley and kind of check the lobes and see the wear on it. And then I'm going to hook an oil pressure gauge up to it and spin the oil pump with a drill and make sure it's got oil pressure. As long as it's got good oil pressure and everything visually looks good, then I'm probably just going to clean it up, paint it, and run it. You know, obviously I'll put a new water pump on it. I'm going to probably change the oil pan because this one's pretty hammered at the bottom. So oil pan, oil change, oil filter. We're going to put different valve covers on it. I'm going to get a nice intake for it, stuff like that, if it all checks out. If it doesn't check out, I'll see what it's going to take to rebuild it. If it's too much, I mean, for machine shop prices nowadays, for what you can go and get machine work done for and buy pistons and buy bearings and all that stuff, you can almost go get a crate motor. So it's not worth the time and money to put into it when you can go buy a motor that's ready to go if you're looking for something that's basically a stock application, which is all I'm doing. If this is a hot little motor, cool. Obviously I'm not going to complain about that, but I don't need the hot little motor. So if this one needs to be rebuilt, I might just take the good parts off of it and set them on the shelf somewhere, and then we'll just look for another motor to use on this project. Now I'm going through this motor to see how good it is, and then I'm going to go introduce you guys to another project we're going to be working on in the shop. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these motor mounts off. They've got these brackets with the holes hanging off the back. That's for a four-wheel drive application because they got bars that go down and bolt to the bottom of the bell housing. So I'm going to take these off because I need them off to clean the motor, to paint it and everything anyways. But I also don't need these brackets for the four-wheel drive, so we won't put those back on when we put it back together. But I'm going to zip those off, and then we'll just keep on going, taking stuff apart and checking stuff out, and I'll show you guys every step of the way. Alright, next thing I'm going to do, get this fan off of here because I'm probably not going to use it, and I need to get it off to tear everything down. So we're just going to take it off, get it out of the way. Alright, now we're going to pull our alternator off. In a second, when I get a socket for it, we can go ahead and do the water pump. Just pulling my bolts out of my front pulley, but I'm going to have to take that main bolt out also to get the pulley off. So get that out of the way. Now we'll pull our alternator the rest of the way. Get our main balancer bolt out. Get that off. I'm going to go get my puller and we'll pull this balancer. So let me get that stuff set up and I'll bring you back. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get my puller set up. well, she's on there, so we're gonna switch over to a ratchet. Alright, got that off. Next thing's going to be the oil pan. So we'll zip that off real quick. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and yank this oil pan off real quick. I didn't mention this, but I went ahead and pulled the coolant drain plugs on the block, and I pulled the oil pan and drained them to make sure there wasn't nothing in there before I started messing with this. Just because I don't want a big mess going all over the floor, I gotta clean up. Alright, we got the oil pan off. Now we're gonna yank off our timing cover real quick. Didn't necessarily mean to throw that on the floor, but hey, came off. So, okay, so the reason I did that is so I could check the chain. Should it's tight on this side and a little loose on this side, that's the rotation of the motor. So it's always going to be pulling on this side. It's going to be a little tighter. But it's got a double roller chain. The gears look pretty new, so I'm guessing this motor was gone through at one point or another. Now we're going to go ahead and roll it over and start checking some stuff on the bottom. So let me get set up for all that, and I'll bring you guys back and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I've determined now that it's just a 2-bolt block, and I came to that conclusion because the caps only have 2 bolts. So it's a 2-bolt, which is fine. Like I said, I'm not that concerned about it really. So I'm going to go ahead and take the oil pump off because I'm going to replace that. And then I'm going to pull a cap or two. And another indication that this has been rebuilt before is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that rod stamp number 3. And that means somebody's had it off before and marked them to put them back in the right spot, which not quite sure how they did this, because both of these are marked 3, both of these are marked 2, which that is cylinder 2. 1, 2, 3. Oh, they marked the side of the caps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they marked the ends of the caps. That one looks like it's got a 2 on it maybe. This one's got a 3. That one's got a 6, 7. I don't know how they did it. They did something funny. But I think they screwed up. I think they meant to do 3 and 4. And they put 3 on both of these because the rest of them are marked right and it's marked 4 on the side. Either way, they're marked all over the place. So they've been into. Because everything's looking really good so far, I don't really want to pull the heads if I don't have to. So I'm going to take a flashlight and look up in here. From the bottom side, it appears it has new pistons in it. They all look pretty new. And I don't see any heavy score marks in the cylinders. And I can still see cross hatching. And the cylinders, at least the ones I can see, they all look pretty good. So that's a good indication. I kind of don't even really want to pull a rod cap or a main cap because everything looks good. But if I don't and I go through a bunch of work on this thing and starts knocking or something, I'm going to be ticked off. I may have already told you this, I don't remember if I did or not, but the guy that I got this motor from was the guy that I was working on dirty for. And this motor was in the bed of dirty when they bought it. And the guy told him it was a good motor, like it was supposed to, the guy had it to put in dirty. Well, they wanted to put a fresh motor in dirty that they knew was going to be good, so they held on to this, and then I ended up with it. So it's supposed to be a good motor. They were told it was a good motor. I don't know who they got it from. I don't know the guy, but everything I can see so far, it looks like a good motor. So I'm probably going to pop a main cap off and maybe one rod cap and see those bearings look as good as the rest of everything inside does. Obviously they rebuilt it and didn't clean it or paint it or nothing, but I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple caps, look at those bearings and see what it shows me. I want to be real careful not to bounce these around a lot, like on the journals. And I don't want to drop them or anything, and then when I put them back on, I'll go ahead and retorque them to spec and just see. I got a bunch of oil in them, which is good. looks pretty good. Not too bad. I don't want to run these all the way back down with the impact, but I'm just going to seat them. And then I'll come back with a torque wrench and torque those later. I'm going to do the same thing here with a rod cap. Look at it and alright, same thing with this one. My crank journal looks good. My bearing looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this back on. I'll go ahead and lightly snug these back up. Okay. Then I'll get a torque wrench on these and torque them back to spec. But in the meantime, as far as I'm concerned, what I'm using this for, this motor's good. I'm going to clean it all up real good and paint it so it looks good. Put it back together. And then we'll put it in something. And I'm about to go show you what we're putting it in here in a minute. Looks like really good wear on the cam lobes. Really good wear on the cam lobes. That cam looks almost new. And I can't tell by looking at it if it's a decent size cam or not, but I guess we'll see when we start it. But in the meantime, we got a good motor, so we're going to move on from there. And I'm going to go show you guys what we're going to put it in. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of walk you guys through what I do to check a motor to see if it's good before I put it in something. Because there's nothing worse than getting a motor and somebody says, oh yeah, it's a good motor, and then you take all the time to clean it up. And like for me, I clean them up and paint them and all that so the engine compartments look good, but it's nothing worse than going through all that work, make that motor look good, bolt it to a transmission, set it in a truck, wire everything up, hook everything up, get it ready, hit the key, and it fires up and doesn't have oil pressure, or starts knocking, or seizes up, or any of the above. I mean, you put a lot of time and effort and work and some money into something, and then all for nothing. And then you got to pull it back out. Then you either got to rebuild it or get another motor or figure out what you're going to do. And it's just a real pain in the butt. So I just want to show you guys what I do. I kind of seen what it was. It's a 350 with good heads on it, and we know that. So I'll go through the process of cleaning it up, putting a new oil pump in it, just because I've already got the pan and everything off. I'd be stupid not to put an oil pump in it. Put an oil pump in it. I'm gonna put a new oil pan on it, like I said, because that one's beat. And obviously all new gaskets, new water pump, new alternator, all that stuff, because I don't know anything about any of that stuff that's on there and I don't want to trust it. So we're gonna do that. But little backstory. So when I bought this truck that I'm about to show you, its intention was to be a shop truck and a daily driver for me, so I don't have to drive the dually everywhere. I don't mind driving the dually everywhere. I don't mind putting gas in the dually. I just want to be able to park that truck so I can do some work to it to make it better. It doesn't need any work. I mean, it very reliable, runs great. Now that we painted it, it looks decent. But it's got an oil leak that I want to try to fix. I'm hoping maybe I can get in touch with gear vendors and get an overdrive for it so that I can run 65, 70 on the highway without revving it up too much. And the interior needs some loving. I mean, we put some seats out of a conversion truck in there, and I love the seats. They're really comfortable. But the bracket was for a standard cab truck, so the floor is a little different, so they're not exactly bolted in right. So I can fix that. The vinyl mat on the floor is completely gone to crap. Either way, we're not talking about the dually this video, but there's stuff I want to do to the dually to make it nicer. So when I bought this truck, the original plan was to do a 5.3 4L60 swap and just use it for a shop truck and a daily driver. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, man, I've done 4 or 5 LS swaps before, or more. I don't even remember anymore. And everybody's doing them. And you know me, I like to be different. So I decided against the LS swap. And then I was like, I like inline sixes a lot. I'm gonna get a 4200 Vortec inline six out of like a 2003 to 2008 Trailblazer, Colorado, something like that. And I'll go fuel injected inline six. And that was the plan, and that's what I was gonna do, and I started collecting parts to do that. And then I got to thinking about it some more, and I'm like, man, I'm old school carbureted. I like old school carbureted stuff. That's what I normally work on. That's what I normally do on the channel. So why would I go and do injected LS stuff or injected inline six stuff and whatever else? I said, I'm gonna go get an old small block with a carburetor, and we're gonna slap it in this truck, and it's gonna be the shop truck. So with that being said, you guys have seen this before. I've talked about it before, but this is Rum Runner. And that's the name that I gave it, and don't ask me why, because there's not any method to it. But when I first seen this color, it made me think of red rum, and I want it to kind of be basically like a bootlegger truck, you know, style wise. Like, it's gonna kind of be sporty, but it's gonna kind of look regular. So that's where the idea for the name came from. But this is Rum Runner. It's a 91 C1500, and I don't even know if the door's open. The interior is ragged out bad. I got a new set of seats for it, which I'll show you when the time comes. I need a dash cover for it, but that ain't no big deal. Some carpet, that ain't no big deal. And I'll either do something fancy on these door panels, or we'll try to find some new ones. But this truck has no rust in it. The frame's not rusty. There's no rust on the body anywhere. Rockers are solid, doors are solid, everything. And because I'm different and I'm simple, I'm not gonna fix a dent on this truck. I'm not gonna paint this truck. I'm not gonna do anything to make it look like it was redone. I'm just gonna leave it like it is. I wanna single piece rear window. So I'll get a single piece rear window and get rid of the slider. It needs a windshield because it's cracked. I need a passenger side fender. It didn't have it when I got it, and I'm gonna try, never done it before, but I'm gonna try to, whatever color fender I get, whether it be a repop that's black, or if I get a used one that's blue or red or white or whatever, I'm gonna try to color match and patina match the rest of the truck. So I wanna get rid of the rear bumper and put a roll pan on it, and I don't want to make it look like a lowrider, and I don't want to do all that, but I am going to lower the truck just to give it kind of a hot rod stance. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. So we're going to lower it a little bit. We're going to do some stuff to the body to make it look like I want it to, and then we're going to shove that 350 in here with a carburetor because that's what I like. And we got this NV3500 5-speed transmission that we're going to bolt to the back of that 350 and go in there. So it's going to be a 350 5-speed manual, nicely lowered truck, and I think it's going to be a fun project, and I think it's going to be a fun little daily driver shop truck. So I want to do it up nice. I'm not going to go over the top. It's not going to be a show truck or anything like that, but I want it to be nice enough that if I want to cruise it to a car show, I can park it in the show and not in the parking lot while I'm at the show. So, but if you guys are interested in seeing me change out the oil pump, clean up this block, re-gasket it, paint it, and all that to get it ready to go into the truck, let me know in the comments. If I don't get a bunch of comments that say, yeah, we want to see you put the motor back together, then I'm not going to film it. I'll just do it, and I'll show you guys when it's done. So let me know what you want to do. But I think that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys what I had going on, and I'm actually doing some stuff for myself over the weekend and last day of last week and today. And tomorrow I got to get started on customer stuff again, but I just wanted to kind of piddle and do some of my own stuff and get some of my own stuff sorted out for my projects. So leave me a comment, let me know what you think, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell. The way things are going, I think my goal of 5,000 subscribers pretty quick is a little outlandish, I guess, because it's not happening very fast. So I'm going to change that, and if we get to 2,000, I'm going to do a giveaway and get y'all some cool stuff. So if you're not subscribed, please do. If you are subscribed, share it with your friends, because if you're interested in it, they might be interested in it too, and maybe they'll subscribe. But I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.